In the late hours of a foggy London night, a sinister shadow began to haunt the streets of Whitechapel. Amid the soot and the smoke of the Industrial Revolution, Victorian London was a city of stark contrasts. The rich enjoyed their lavish lives in grand townhouses, while the poor huddled in overcrowded slums. Whitechapel, in the East End, was one such place where desperation clung to the air as thickly as the ever-present fog. Then, in the autumn of 1888, a chilling change swept through the cobbled streets. A series of grisly murders shattered the uneasy peace of Whitechapel. The victims, all women, were found brutally mutilated, sparking a wave of terror throughout the community. The first was Mary Ann Nichols, discovered lifeless in Bucks Row with her throat slashed and body horrifically disfigured. The shocking brutality of the crime sent tremors of fear through the heart of London. The first of the killings had begun, and the nameless terror that was Jack the Ripper had made his deadly debut. As the autumn of 1888 unfolded, so did the reign of one of history's most infamous serial killers. Jack the Ripper, as he would later be known, left his grisly mark on London's Whitechapel district. His victims, all women of the night, were found brutally murdered, their bodies mutilated with a precision that sent a chill down the spine of the city. This wasn't the work of a common thug. The calculated savagery suggested a perpetrator with a deep understanding of human anatomy, leading many to speculate that the killer had some form of medical training. The first two victims, Mary Ann Nichols and Annie Chapman, were found merely a week apart. Their throats were cut, their bodies horribly disfigured. The city was appalled by the brutality of these murders, but the worst was yet to come. The night of September 30th would forever be remembered as the double event. Two more victims, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, were discovered in the early hours, their bodies bearing the same chilling signature of the Ripper. The audacity of committing two murders in one night sent a wave of terror through the heart of London. The press, feeding off the public's fear, added fuel to the fire. The newspapers were filled with lurid details of the killings. The name Jack the Ripper, taken from a letter sent to a news agency and believed to be from the killer himself, became a symbol of dread. The police, desperate to catch the murderer, conducted extensive investigations. They interviewed thousands, raided numerous lodgings, and even employed bloodhounds in their search. But to no avail, the Ripper was always one step ahead, his identity shrouded in mystery. The final murder, that of Mary Jane Kelly on November 9th, was the most gruesome of all. The scene was so horrific that it defied description, marking a bloody end to the Ripper's reign of terror. With each gruesome murder, the legend of Jack the Ripper grew, his identity remaining as elusive as a wisp of London fog. In the midst of this reign of terror, letters began to arrive, each claiming to be from the killer himself. The authorities and media were flooded with correspondence, but two letters stood out from the rest: the From Hell letter and the Dear Boss letter. The From Hell letter, a macabre missive, was delivered with a small box containing half a human kidney, purportedly from one of the Ripper's victims. The Dear Boss letter, on the other hand, was the first to introduce the world to the moniker Jack the Ripper, a name that would echo through the annals of crime history. Controversy swirled around these letters. Were they the taunts of the killer, reveling in his gruesome deeds, or the work of some morbid prankster, seeking to capitalize on the public's fear and fascination? This debate remains unresolved, adding an extra layer of enigma to an already puzzling case. These chilling letters, whether authentic or not, only added to the growing legend of Jack the Ripper. As abruptly as they began, the killings stopped, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in mystery and fear. In the autumn of 1888, the reign of terror suddenly ceased. Speculation abounds as to why. Did the Ripper die, or was he incarcerated for another crime? Perhaps he simply moved away, or maybe sanity regained its hold. The true identity of Jack the Ripper has remained a tantalizing enigma. Over the years, countless theories have been proposed, suspects named, each one more intriguing than the last. Yet none have yielded definitive proof. The Ripper's legacy extends beyond the morbid fascination with his crimes. He has seeped into the fabric of popular culture, appearing in numerous films, novels, and television shows. His tale, a ghastly blend of fact and fiction, continues to captivate and horrify us. Over a century later, The shadow of Jack the Ripper still looms large, his identity and motives forever lost in the foggy streets of Whitechapel.